everybody. My name is Karen Wilson, and I am proud to be your president this year. If we could ask Jeannie McClellan and Derek McGill to come forward. Derek's not here. Jeannie, would you be willing to do everything?
I need my glasses. I would be willing. I just need. Did you get my glasses for me? Okay, I guess I'm going to do everything. First, let's start with our prayer, please. Heavenly Father, we come before Thee in gratitude for the opportunity we have as Rotarians to serve our community and to love one another as Thy commandment says. We ask Thee to please bless this food, that it may nourish and strengthen our physical bodies, and that we will be guided in all our choices and decisions, that all that we do will meet the object of the four-way test and the object of Rotary, and that we will always serve in harmony for the benefit of our club, our communities, and the world. And we say this in gratitude in the name of Thy Son. Amen. Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Your eyes are coming.
My eyes are on the way. Okay, we have some milestones today. Member birthdays: Jerry Parker, February 26th. Tom Horton, February 26th. Chris Cash, February 28th. All right. Jeanette Harrington, February 28th. The end of February was real active here. Fred Sellers, February 28th. Spouse birthdays: apparently nobody's spouse was born this month, so here, or this week. Anniversaries: Miranda and Daniel Bradley, 17 years on February 27th. And club anniversaries: Marlene McMichael, 4 years on February 26th, and Jeanette Harrington, 5 years, February 28th. Salute.
Thank you, Jeannie, for that last minute request. Okay. If you brought a guest to our meeting today, would you please stand and introduce your guest?
Hello. Hi. Today I saw Officer Burt Witcher here, and we're in Leadership Georgetown through Chamber of Commerce together. So I decided to claim him as my guest. Help me welcome Officer Burt Witcher.
This is our friend Judy Lester, and she was the previous owner of the Escape. They sold that business, and she is now doing business coaching and pretty amazing stuff she's telling me. So we welcome her as a prospective member of Rotary. Okay, are you visiting Rotarians today?
Carl Noble from Austin Rotary. Thank you, Myra.
You're from the Austin Rotary? Thank you so much.
Hello, Brandon Jennings from Southwest University.
I'm Kaylee Brockman, also from the Southwest University Rio Dulce.
What about Rob Hardy?
I'm visiting property.
Thank you all. Just so you all know, Henry Yu, one of our wonderful Rotarians, is filming our meetings for us, and then he posts them on YouTube. So anyone coming up to the podium or speaking is usually going to be on that film. Okay, the next thing I want to talk to y'all about is we have some early act first knighting ceremonies coming up next week. Please join us in attending these events and thanking these students for all their hard work. Jim Albers is usually there, and I'm sure he'd appreciate company. The kids are always very grateful to our club, and they will call you out and thank you. So please be there to join Jim in those ceremonies. This is also listed in your trumpet. If you want to check those dates and times and put them in your calendar, that would be great. Okay, Jim Rozier, you had some announcements, and I think Brandon wanted to come up with you.
Brandon and Kaylee have things they want to tell you about at Southwestern University Rotary.
It's just me for now. So on March the 1st, Friday at 11 a.m., we are getting a plaque installed on campus for our help with the Tree USA project that Rotary did. We helped plant about 6 trees in the area, so for us to be commemorated and we'd be excited. So we're asking and extending the invitation for anyone that is available to come out at 11 a.m. by the chapel parking lot on campus. So thank you.
This is really a pretty big deal. The Williamson County Sun is going to promote it in this weekend's edition and next Wednesday's edition. They are also going to be on site to write a story about this event, the planting and so on. I think in terms of 10 or 15 years from now when those trees are real big and the sign is still there. So we want as many of you as possible to be there. And I'm going to give you sign-up sheets that just reflect a commitment that you're going to try to be there by the chapel next week, just before Rotary.
Thank you. All right, Kaylee's going to come up and talk to us, and I want you all to know that these kids are here from Interact, which is pretty cool. Having them join us in our meetings and keep us up on what's going on, and we appreciate your involvement.
Hi, once again, I'm Kaylee. I'm from the Rotary Club, and I come today with a project proposal. So I'm from Houston, and I was in Interact, and this is something that our Rotary Club did. It's called the Purple Pinky Project, and basically it's a fundraiser to try and help end polio. So the name Purple Pinky comes from when doctors give the polio vaccine to kids, they paint their pinkies purple to indicate that they got it. So that's where the name comes from. And yeah, so this is basically me asking the Rotary Club. We're planning on raising funds, but it'd be cool if Rotary could match the funds so we can make an even bigger impact and help end polio. Yes. Okay. So yes, that's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, and we'll keep up with you and see how that's going, and then we'll see if the board can accommodate your request. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is a ramp bill that's going to be coming up, and that's going to be March the 9th. We're not sure where yet, but put March the 9th on your calendar. Interact Club's coming together for youth ages 12 to 18. Julian Grant wants to constantly bring that to our attention, that those clubs are being developed. And then we have a golf tournament coming up, and it's going to be the 12th of April. Nathan, did you want to say anything else about that? Is he still here? Yeah.
Good afternoon, everybody. After doing this a couple of years, I kind of figured I would be put on the spot today for some reason. But no, we're getting everything really underway. We have major sponsors that support sort of the foundation, the operating cost for the golf tournament. And right out of the gates, as part of their sponsorship levels, they get teams. And so we probably have, between those that I've spoken with and the people who already commit money that's earmarked for the golf tournament, about 20 teams. We have sold beverage carts and margarita holes already. Basic format is 11:30 registration at Cowan Creek. It's a 1 o'clock shotgun. Everybody tees off, on different holes. We finish up around 5:30. The pavilion is all set up, and we have a big party. And it's a Friday evening. It's always a really, really good turnout. We will be welcoming, your monies for raffle tickets, for dinner tickets. It's really become this is the 31st year. It's become a community, one of the best golf tournaments in town. And Larry Bingham does all the cooking with his folks. Really what I need help in the last month with is players and sponsors. So the more players and sponsors, the more money we raise, the more we can give back to Early Act First Night, which we support the 3 elementary schools. So come see me. It's high level. If you want your company name out there, if you want to be present on the day of the golf tournament, sort of branding your company and those kind of things, it's $300 cost for whole sponsorship, $600 cost for a team, and we have many other different levels of sponsorship. But happy to be leading it again. It always comes together. It starts off slow, comes together in the last month. So welcome your support, and it'll be a fun Friday. Thanks.
Thank you, Nathan. Okay, membership, George Oliver.
Thank you, Karen. I'm kind of sitting in for David Masserank today, who's out of town, couldn't make it. Just a couple of quick announcements on that. Number one, Will Broden, are you here? He has been sponsored for membership. His application is still on the desk. It's his second week. So just to let you know about that. The other thing is next, for those of you in the Red Badge program that have not yet gone through club orientation, that's going to be held next Friday at 11 o'clock, right before this meeting, in the room right across the hall back here. So just to let you know. The other thing is, those of you who might recall a few weeks ago, David stood up and mentioned a new program that we as a club are undertaking. It's called Family of Rotary. The reason we're doing this is that as a service organization, we've been great in being outwardly focused and servicing our community, but maybe not quite as strong as looking inward and taking care of those members that meet with us every Monday and with whom we form this club. So to that end, I have a couple of announcements about members that are here. Steve Shaw, who many of you know, has had some surgery. It's passed now, and apparently he's recovering and doing very well. There's another man who's been a member of this club for over 30 years, Bill Bryce, and those of you who have been around here know him well. For a lot of the newer members, such as myself, we don't know him yet. But Bill has been quite an excellent Rotarian through the years. He is not only past president of this club, but in the year 2000, he was district governor. So he has certainly made his contribution to Rotary. Well, things are not going real well for Bill right now. I spoke with his wife, Sarah, this past week. He is now in rehab, has been there for a while, and may remain there for a while. And she said that he would very much welcome visitors, anybody who wants to drop by and say hello and maybe brighten his spirits and brighten his day a little bit. If you want to see me afterward, I have his contact information. I can tell you where he is and how to get in touch with him. And by the way, Sarah, his wife, is also battling pneumonia at this time. So just to let you know that they're kind of having a double struggle with their household right now. So just keep that in mind, and I'll be here afterwards if you want to come up and get some contact information. Thank you.
Thank you very much, George. We really appreciate that. All right, today's program is all about George Lourigan, and George is going to come forward and introduce himself and present our program.
Now, Larry, that's not fair. Come on, Larry. You said you wouldn't do that. I appreciate that. I have practice in the hacking, and so I was able to hide those, so I'm okay right now, I think. Do you have the cordless mic somewhere? Okay, my wires back. I will need that. But this program is not about me. It's actually about 3 different things that I wanted to let the club know about. First, I'm going to start with Lieutenant Pritchard. Come on up. You're on number 1, and he has a very special program we're talking about. Do you want the wireless or you want the podium?
I'll just do the wireless.
Okay.
Thank you for allowing me to come by and visit with you. I'll make notes because I'm going to give dates here, so I don't want to get any dates wrong. We are fast approaching the beginning of another Citizens Police Academy. It's this particular session is going to be 11 weeks. We meet on Thursday nights, 6:30 to 8:30 on Thursday nights. The opening session is March 21st. But if you're available, we would love to have you. We just need you to sign up quickly. Reason being is there is a little bit of a background check just to make sure there's not serious complications. I'm sure all of y'all will be fine. But occasionally there's something. I have some applications that I'll leave up front here when the event is over. And then also I wanted to mention that on March 3rd, which is a Sunday, we're doing the, I believe it's the 8th annual Chase the Chief event out at Eastview High School campus. We've got a little bit over 1,000 people registered already. It's a 5K along with a fun run, along with some basically like CrossFit options that we call the Chief Challenge that's for kids and adults alike. So we'd love for everybody to come out. The opening ceremony starts at 2, but we'll have healthy living, healthy food vendors and all there starting at about noon, and events going from 2 until about 4:30. Anyway, all the proceeds, we actually have a nonprofit group that solicits sponsors and all, and so all the proceeds from the registration to run go directly back into the school education programs, specifically physical education programs. So the sponsors underwrite all the costs, and your contribution to enter the activities goes back to school PE programs. All right. Again, thank you for giving me a moment, and
Thank you very much. Okay, y'all know that I have had the opportunity to work with several different global grants that our club has been doing. 2 of them with St Helen Victoria, Mexico. And I'm going to repeat something I did last week, but I just wanted, because some of the people may not have been there. The global grant that we started, that actually was approved about 2 years ago, and actually started about 2 years ago for microcredit. That's very low interest loans to women entrepreneurs in St Helen Victoria, Mexico. That project has finished. It was a 2-year-long project. They submitted their final report last week. And also, last week, they were approved for the next global grant that's going to be done in St Helen Victoria, Mexico. And that's one that the club got approved from the district last October. And it's for bone marrow transplant equipment in St Helen Victoria, Mexico. Now, to give you an idea what the significance of this is, as best I've been able to determine, there's about 4 or 5 sites in all of Mexico that have this equipment. And now there's one in St Helen Victoria, Mexico, where our sister club is down there. The equipment cost $114,000. And Karen, do you remember exactly how much our club actually wrote a check for? It was less than $5,000, I think, because I think there were 2 parts of it, something like that. And yet, by combining that with funds from other clubs and funds from Rotary International, we end up with a $114,000 piece of equipment that y'all made a difference, and that saves people's lives. And when I say save people's lives, we're talking real life savings. So here's what happens if they don't have the equipment. Someone gets a disease that needs, like leukemia, okay, that needs this bone marrow transplant. They need the equipment. Now, we're talking a very poor community, okay? And I don't think anyone in this room even meets the standards of the average person there at all on the type of income, the type of housing they have available to them. So they then have to travel 6 to 8 hours away to some other location in Mexico that has this equipment, stay there for anywhere from 3 to 4 months. Hopefully they have a relative there or someone who will let them stay with them because they can't afford that, in order to get the treatment to save their life. Without the treatment, almost all of them are dying. So that's the difference that this makes in that area of Mexico. So tremendous, tremendous difference that our club has made in 2 big areas just in the last 2 years. So give yourself another round of applause. Y'all have done this, and you've done a fantastic job. Now, in between those 2 grants, we started working on another grant locally. That was literacy. Very, very important in the southeastern part of Georgetown, right where we are right now. We've had several different challenges with that grant. We got it approved through district level. We submitted it to Rotary International. They came back with some requirements. We went to some of the partners and they didn't want to meet the requirements. So we basically came back to the drawing board. Now we have a gentleman in our club, Ron Swain, come up here, Ron, who is absolutely passionate about literacy and making a difference in the lives of people in that area. And so I approached him this past summer, beat him up, twisted his arm, almost broke it, and he agreed that he would revitalize that project for us. So I'm going to let him tell you about it. Okay. He knows the...
Thanks, George. Before I comment about the grant program, I want to encourage you, if you haven't participated in that Citizens Police Academy, to consider doing that. I'm a proud graduate of that academy. I also want to encourage us as a club to support the Rotaract proposal and their activities. If you have not read this month's Rotarian magazine, our international president is encouraging us to work with the Rotaract and the Interact clubs in our communities as a way of sustaining our organization by creating the pipeline for those young Rotarians to come to where we are now. So I want to encourage you to participate in that. George gave me the opportunity to pick up on this project around literacy, and no doubt about it, this is a critical issue in our country, in our state, and in our community. We know that if children are not reading at the 3rd grade level by the time they're in the 3rd grade, the likelihood of them not performing well on standardized tests, dropping out of school, not graduating, going to jail increases dramatically. We know also from some research that the 3rd grade performance on tests is used to determine how many prison beds will be needed in the future. 3rd grade literacy, prison beds. What George gave me the opportunity to do, working with this grant, is to create an opportunity for youngsters to improve their literacy skills, but more importantly, to help their parents learn to read, and especially to read English. And so what we're going to be doing, working with the Literacy Council of Williamson County, is to provide an ESL multi-generational program. Kimberly Good, who's the executive director of the Literacy Council, we've met and we've looked at several models. This is a new model for literacy, multi-generational literacy. So not only are we working in the schools with the youngsters, but we're going to be working outside of school with their parents and their grandparents. Because one of the reasons that children develop a love for learning is through reading, and they learn to love reading by seeing others read. And so if their parents are reading, if their grandparents are reading, they develop that love for learning and love for reading. So our effort is going to begin this spring as a pilot at the Gethsemane Center. In fact, we'll begin next month in March with a small group to test out this multi-generational approach to English as a second language. What we propose in the Rotary grant is to expand that pilot and increase the number of participants in our community. Our focus clearly geographically is on the southeast section of Georgetown. First Methodist Church and my work here as Director of Missions, we determined in 2012 that our local mission field is the southeast section of Georgetown. We want to use this as a model so that others will use this model and replicate it, not only here in Georgetown, but around the state. So George, thank you. Even though we've had some struggles in terms of getting this started, and I know that in the coming weeks, as we develop this pilot, we will be looking for individuals from this club to join with us in doing assessments, doing evaluation of the pilot, so that when we move forward with our proposal, we have some milestones that are accomplishable and that we can report back at the end of the grant. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you. What a deal. So I have a tablet here, yellow tablet, easy to identify. There's two different topics on there. The bottom topic is Literacy Global Grant. If you're interested in helping Ron Swain, please put your name and phone number on there so we can get in touch with you. The top portion of it has to do with the bucket filters that we've talked about before. So that's the next part of the program, and we'll finish it off with the bucket filters. Y'all remember I went to Guatemala back in August. I brought 50 buckets and filters down to Guatemala and distributed them down there. I'll go to the first slide. Oops, not the very first picture, which has the bucket filter on it by itself. There you go. No problem. Okay, we still only have one working. So this is one of the ones that we distributed back in August. It is currently and has been in use since then. As you can see, it's got the Rotary Club emblem for our club. It also has the emblem below that, is the nonprofit that we've been working with down there in Guatemala. They love it. They use it all the time, and they're just extremely thankful for it. We didn't get to go to visit all the places we distributed them, but we did get to talk to at least one of the families, and they tremendously liked it a lot. So we went back again at the end of January and distributed 40 more filters. So what I have is some pictures and videos of that distribution. I also have the basic setup that you would normally see, now minus those nice, pretty, fancy rotary water bottles. They're just there for, effect and everything. But to give you a perspective on what actually occurs, what happens when we get down there. So go to the next slide. Next picture. Sorry. We have pictures and videos, and if I say the right word, he'll do the right thing. If I don't, we'll be lost together. So, as we're putting these buckets together, the first thing we do is we take a bucket and we put a hole in it. So here's a bucket without any holes in them. And that gentleman there is actually putting a hole in the bucket. There's a little tool that we have. It's basically a drill bit with a piece of wood stuck on the end of it that he works and puts a hole in it. We've actually modified it so it's a little easier now than it was originally, but it took about a minute for each one of them to put those holes in there. And we put stickers on them. Okay, next slide. And we load all those things in a boat, and we head to a village. This is a picture of us arriving at the village that we're going to distribute the filters at. We're on Lake Isabel. As you can see, the lake is very clean. That was supposed to be a joke. Come on. Catch up with me here, okay? Next slide. Oh yeah, they also wash dishes there in the lake. Now this is their drinking water. Y'all want to go to Lake Isabel? Now Lake Isabel is one of the biggest lakes there in the entire country. And it's a gorgeous place, got some really beautiful things, but that's the water, okay? Next slide. So here we are in the classroom. So what we do is we have these buckets that we put a hole in, got stickers on, and then we put the filter kit inside of them. We stack them in stacks of 10, tie them together, and carry them over there. And so when we arrive there, we arrive with that. Those are 2 buckets that we fill with lake water. Okay? And I have over here a bucket full of lake water. Well, not exactly. I just took regular water, put a bunch of dirt in it. It looks like this. Not very clean, obviously. And so what we do with that is we go through a demonstration. Well, the first thing they're doing, and what they're doing there, the gentleman with the baseball cap on in the center talking is Ryan Eckert. You've met him before. He used to be a member of our club. He speaks English and Spanish, and he's explaining the need for clean water. The lady next to him, who's been very dark in the picture there, just because of the shadows there, her name is Olga. She speaks Spanish and Quechua. Quechua is the language that most of the people, the native Indians there speak. So he's speaking in Spanish and she's translating it to Quechua. And that's basically how everything works there. And if I try to talk, it becomes a triple translation because I can't speak much Spanish. Next picture. There's a kind of a panoramic view of all the people who have come to receive bucket filters in the classroom. I'm probably standing in people's way here. You can't see what's going on. So next picture. So here I am. Once they explain the need to it, then we go through a demonstration, and there I am, trying to, and you can see that one doesn't have a filter in it yet. It's just a bucket with a hole in there. And I actually assemble it right there. Take one of those buckets of dirty water and pour it in there. So they get to see all of it. They get to see all of this. Next picture. And then we're filtering the water, and so I actually will filter the water and then drink it in front of them. Now they know how dirty the water is, and they don't like it, but they can't believe this gringo is over there drinking this horrible water. Now it's not a super fast process. I'm just going to give you a perspective on how that goes. Now I'm going to ask Vicki to come up while this is starting to filter right now. And I have another one set up over here, which I've already dumped the dirty water in, so Vicki wouldn't have to worry about doing that. She's got a nice red cup there, so I'm going to get you to go over there and filter some more water over there. So when people come, so we do a demonstration, and then Olga actually has a piece of paper that she gets the names of each family, the adults in the family, the children in the family, not the names of it, just the key names for the family, the number of adults, number of children, and the diseases that they've had in the last 6 months and last 6 to 12 months. Because what is clean water going to get rid of? It's going to get rid of lots of diseases that people are getting from the water, okay? So we want to measure what they have now and we'll come back and measure what they're going to have later, which is hopefully nothing at all. So did that fill up already?
It's half full. Do you want it all the way full?
Yeah, get it pretty much full because you're going to need that to backwash or back flush. Now you can tell this one I haven't back flushed recently because it's going kind of slow. Hers probably goes much faster because it's been back flushed much more recently than mine has. You're supposed to back flush them every day, and I don't always remember to. So the filter gets clogged, and you have to get it soaking wet and back flush it real good so it'll clean itself out. Okay, so now we're going to switch to some videos of actually demonstrating this to people, and we're going to kind of just go one after another through videos, and I'll talk about them as we go. As you can see, it's chaos, but it's great chaos, and people are very excited about it. So we're filtering water here, and I'm actually filling that bottle up with water, and then I'm going to actually show them how to back flush with the bottle itself, where you tighten it up on there and squeeze the water back through the filter, and it back flushes. It's one of the techniques of back flushing is you squeeze that and back flush the water through there. And Olga is then explaining to them what I'm doing. So you can hear her explaining the background. simple. It literally is just picking it up and hooking it on there. There's a cap that screws on to protect it, but it's nothing but gravity fed, and it's just cut off like that. Then I actually walked around the room, took a drink of the water, and showed it to everybody and drank it so they would understand that. Okay. He's going to go right through one after another. So here I am assembling the kit. So he sees me actually putting it together. There's a picture of the dirty water down below that we're going to pour in the bucket. So we first attach the portion that fits in the bucket, and then we attach the filter and hose to the bucket. And then I hook the bracket on there so that it can hook on the side of the bucket. As you can see, that came right out of the lake. Anybody want a drink? So now we're filtering that. Water, we're getting the filters just starting, so it starts out slow and then it'll pick up as it gets all wet inside of it and it starts flowing nicely. Here I'm filtering it into a glass, which makes it easier to drink. There I just filtered it actually into a water bottle, which is easier to function with a water bottle. You can see I'm using the water bottle there. So I have numerous videos of this, of all different groups of people. Some of them are couples, some of them are, so you'll see, them drinking the water. You'll see husbands, wives, children drinking the water that's been filtered, and they get very, very excited about it. One of the folks in there is actually the oldest couple in the village. You'll recognize them very quickly. Is that what you see coming out of your faucet at home? No? So Georgetown's doing something right now. I hope. Looks like a repeat picture, but it's a different person, so we just kind of go through this cycle. So we delivered 22 bucket filters to this village. So we set up 2 stations, and each one did 11 filters. It takes about an hour. The whole process takes about 2 hours. 2 to 2.5 hours. There he goes. How about that? Drinking clean water. Now, many people will say, well, why don't they just go ahead and buy water? They can't afford it. They cannot afford to buy clean water. So they're getting it out of the lake, or they're getting it out of the creek, or they're getting it out of a well, which is also probably most of the time contaminated. This gentleman is back flushing. And I'll also demonstrate that as he's doing it. To clean the filter out, your back flush at least 3 times, and it should be done daily. Hey, Vicky will do the same thing. fast as... Now, sometimes my photographer didn't realize that when you turn the camera the other way, your phone, it makes the whole picture go sideways. Yes. The filter will last 1 million gallons, which is what the average family will drink in a lifetime. I can buy the filters here in the United States at $10 a piece. In Guatemala, they cost, because of shipping and import tax and everything, about $30 a piece. I may be able to get them cheaper. The buckets run in Guatemala about $5 a piece. Here they cost $3. Yes? Okay, this will filter down to 0.1 micron in size. So if you have an idea how the size of bacteria, it takes out all bacteria and anything larger than that.
You mentioned the illnesses that they have had as a result of dirty water.
Yes, sir.
I assume that includes parasites and what have you. Will people require additional medical treatment after they start drinking clean water?
That is a great question. In fact, when we were down there in Guatemala, I met with the health folks down there, running very close on time. Well, Karen, keep me online there, please. So we met with the folks from the health department down there, and also Rotary Club down there. One of the things the Rotary Club had done was gave people deworming medicine to get rid of the worms they get from the bad water, okay? And so we're working to put that as a part of our project. It'd be administered by the health department, not by us, but medicine that will help clean out their system from anything that they've got in there from drinking the bad water. Great question. Yes? To this village we delivered 22, to the next village we went to we delivered 18.
How many families does that cover? Does that cover all?
That's 22 families in that village. The next village actually had 30 families, but we only had a total of 40 buckets, so we have to go back and finish that one this summer. Yes, Roger?
So how do you avoid the taxes and all that stuff getting them into the country?
In luggage. But that only works on a small scale, okay? So we just put it in our luggage and they don't care. I mean, I had it in my luggage, they scanned it, and they don't care about it at all. But that only works on a small scale, because these are just pilots. These are
5 people signed up, so we have plenty of room. If you want to make it, it'll be next week. Sign-up sheet is over there, and if you know someone else that's not in the club that would like to donate, just let me know. You can sign up online, you can call me, text me, I'll get you on the list.
We'll have a Rotary Social March 1st. It's a Friday at George's on the Town. I hope you can be there. It'll be from 5 to 7, and I'm sure they'll have drink specials. They have a really nice patio, but if it's cold or wet, we'll move inside.
Okay, thank you, Allison. Anything else for the good of Rotary? Any other announcements? Yes, sir.
Quickly, tomorrow, weather permitting, out at the airport is I think it's 8th annual car show. If you haven't been out to that, it's an enormous car show. The rain's supposed to be out of here in the morning. I'd heard it was an hour and a half delayed from 9 or 9:30, so it might be later. And I'm going to give another shameless plug for the Devil Dog, because the plane will be there as well for you to look at, so you can check online as to the time. And if you haven't been there, it's hundreds of classic muscle cars and everything else that's been there, and it's a fundraiser as well. Thank you.
Wonderful. Anyone else? All right. If you would join me in the things we think, say, and do. First,
the truth.
Second,
fair all concerned.
Third,
will build goodwill and better friendships.
And fourth, will be beneficial to all concerned. We're adjourned.